Finance Review Group. The induction loop is now operating. Members and officers, please remember to switch microphones on and speak directly into the microphone and switch it off again after speaking. Reporting officers using Teams, please switch cameras on when addressing the committee and switch off again after speaking. Please use the hands up icon to indicate questions and comments. The chair will invite you to speak. I'll try and make sure I notice when you put your hand up on the screen. The meeting this evening will be live streamed to the public, and a recording of the meeting will be available on the Council's website within 24 hours of the meeting. Any exempt or private items on the agenda, live stream will cease prior to the meeting moving into private, and there may therefore be a short delay. Okay, agenda. Apologies, Matt.
Yes, Chair. Apologies from Councillor M. Hussain, who's been substituted by Councillor Raja, and also from Councillor Ali, been substituted by Councillor Keynes.
Thank you. Is everybody happy with the minutes? So is that another apology? Everybody okay with the minutes? Any comments, queries, questions? If there are no problems, I'll assume everyone's okay for me to sign them. Disclosures of interest, anybody?
Yeah, I'm a director of a developing company. We've got an agenda item in private later on. There's no pecuniary interest as such. Just checking with you whether this is okay for me to be here for that discussion.
My understanding is that unless you have an interest in the particular item that's on the agenda, it's probably okay for you to stay, so long as the conversation stays general. If it strays into any areas where you do have an interest, obviously we'll rely on you to let us know.
Thank you for the clarification.
David.
Sorry, Chair. I just realised that in the minutes on page 7 of the papers, item Roman numerals 2 at the bottom, it says that Director Finance Revenues and Benefits provide members on the position of the Council's reserves. I don't see that in the programme. Maybe I missed it.
Right, I'm advised that it was probably intended that that would be dealt with by email. Maybe if that hasn't happened, Matt could remind the relevant officer.
Well, I don't recall having seen anything about it, and it's not in the programme as far as I know.
No, I don't recall it either, but that doesn't necessarily mean I haven't had it sent to me. But I'm sure Matt will have a word with the officer to make sure that it is dealt with, if it hasn't already been. Section 106, I take it we've had no disclosures, no references, no chair's announcements from me. So it's straight on to item 8, which is finance updates, which I would guess Dev, who is joining us on Teams, would like to merge with item 9. Is that the case, Dev? Thank you. Any questions? Yes?
Dave, are you saying that there's some more item on coming on this agenda, yeah? Or there's still remaining still on there? Normally.
Yeah, there is a September meeting.
Okay. Yeah.
Anybody else? Okay, so I take it then we simply thank Dev for the report and note it. In which case we move swiftly on to the work programme.
I think
Sorry?
9 and 10.
Progress and achievement.
Oh, auditors sign off. Yes, I'm sorry. That's
So
10. You've
auditors,
had circulated around the room this evening a partial answer to the question that we've been asking for some time. And Deb no doubt will expand on that. But having only just received this written document, I propose that if I do have any questions, I will deal with them by email with Dev, and I would suggest that you all do the same. It might be helpful if in doing so, you CC all the members of this group so that we can all get the answers at the same time. Sorry, Dev, to interrupt.
okay, so first progress on the 1819 sign off. So we had discussion with the auditors, Ernst & Young. So we're talking about 1819 accounts and the value for money, which is 4 years, 1920 to 22-23. So work is taking place with Ernst & Young. So we are planning to take the accounts 1819 because now since we've discussed with Ernst & Young the June-July accounts, we already 12 months. So we have to go and update the accounts to reflect any post-balance sheet events for the next 12 months and prepare another cash flow for the next 18 months. So every time there's a delay in sign off the accounts, then we have to go back and change the accounts in order to reflect anything which is more current and up to date. So we're still referring to 1819 accounts. So the plan is to bring the accounts to the 9th of October audit committee, and we will send EY a revised set of accounts because, as I said, times has moved on, and that EY will review those accounts, and if there's any questions, comments, queries, they will discuss with us. And then EY will also issue their what you call the ISA report, which is based on international standards of auditing. So this is basically the final report about the findings and everything, and that should be finalized by end of September, and including the value for money of work, which is taking place for the 4 years 1920 to 22-23. And this will come together with the final accounts on the 9th of October. So in terms of the accounts, that will be the final date when we bring the October. The government has allowed a slight sort of extension in the backstop because, as members will recall, the backstop was end of September, but now I think the latest is probably mid of December. So we've got some time to get all the accounts and everything finalized. Now, 1922, 22, 23, I don't think there will be further work to be carried out by Ernst & Young, but the value for money work, it's different from the statement of accounts audit. So the value for money work is happening, so that will come to the 9th of October audit committee. So that at least will draw a line on all the 1819 to 22-23. And just to give you an update on 23-24, is GT our new auditors, they're working with us, so work is progressing, and that will be GT for 23-24. So, and in terms of the fees, Chair, those fees, absolutely, any members have got any questions, detailed question queries, but this is just one page of a bigger document which was presented to the audit committee. So if members would like to have a copy of that, that was the audit committee in March, but we are quite happy to send you a copy of that document. This is a document from Ernst & Young, which give breakdown of the fees they intend to raise, but normally we go, and as clearly says, it will have to have a discussion with PSAA, which is Public Sector Audit Appointment, to discuss whether that fees is reasonable or not. So that's a process we'll go through, but we won't go through that unless the 18-19 account is finalized, and then Ernst & Young will let us know what are the final bill. Then we go through a process of discussing with PSSA which areas we agree, which areas if you've got concern and issues to raise. Thank you, Chair.
Anybody? Questions, comments? Okay, I've just got one question, Dev, and that is, in addition to the 2019-20 accounts, which we're all anxious to get signed off as soon as possible, there are a further 4 years, of course, that can't be signed off until the 19-20 ones have been, because each subsequent year's starting point, of course, is the previous year's finishing point. Given the government's new deadlines, are you confident that we're going to get all of those 5 years signed off within the time limit?
What EY has indicated is, and that's why central government has come with this legislation of the backstop. So all these accounts outstanding, central government would like those to be completed by sort of December. So EY has already indicated they've stopped further work. So 18-19, that's the accounts which we are going to bring to the 9th of October. And after 18-19, the 19-20, 20-21, 21-22, and 22-23, further work won't be happening. So EY won't be doing further audit. So what will happen is central government has indicated that for those accounts, because it's quite now 22-23 is long, yeah, it's 23-24, which was more recent. So the legislation will allow auditors to put a disclaimer rather than giving a full audit opinion on those accounts from 1920 to 22-23. So government aim is to move to 23-24, which is more recent, rather than doing 19-20, 20-21, 21-22, 22-23, which is quite far in the past now. So coming back to your question, we won't get the audited accounts on 19-20 to 22-23, but what instead we will receive a value for money assessment, because it's a two part of the audit. One is a give an opinion of the accounts, and second, to say whether the council has demonstrated value for money, but that still will have to be done because it's not directly linked with the accounts. So we won't get the accounts audited, but we'll get a value for money assessment on the 9th of October. But 18-19 we are keen to bring, because there has been a lot of discussion on 18-19 to the 9th of October audit committee.
David?
Yes, only one thing, Deb, just to be sure. I mean, the increase in the audit fees is huge. Does this mean that we're going to have to recast all of the forecasts of the savings that have got to be made by department? And when will we see that recast of the savings that we've got to make to balance the books?
So if we say 18-19, we've already made provision because we have been discussing Ernst & Young, so we had some indicative figures a while ago. So we've made provision in the account. So 23-24, when we close the account in 31st of March, we made provision of that roughly, but we're not making an exact provision, but we've made an overall provision for all the years. but not exactly because we haven't agreed with this level of fees with EY. It will go through a process. So for 2021, 21, 22, 22, 23, you will see on that page, item number 4, the fees agreed by PSSA is 94,000. But the EY won't be doing all the work. They'll be just doing the value for money bit. So then the expectation that the whole 94,000 is not due. So there might be, I don't know how much will be for value for money, but the bulk of the work is to do with statement of account. So for those, we set aside money, but don't think the whole amount will be due. So at this stage, we made provision in the accounts. We'll have to go through and discuss the fees, the level of fees, which is indicative right now. It's just provisional. But then we'll have to go through a process to discuss with PSSE. So coming back to your question, the next question, the level of fees and the final fees and the provision, if it's not enough, then we'll bring a paper to the audit committee to say how we are going to deal. So at this stage, I'm not anticipating that if there is a variation between how much we made a provision and level of fees, which you don't know what is going to be the final figure. So I'm not making assumptions whether we have to make further savings to pay for the fees, or there might be some money left in that provision. So at this stage, it's very difficult unless with EY we close all the 5 years. But one of the things I would like to draw members' attention that for 23-24, there's a new regime in terms of audit fees, and audit fees, as I've discussed with at audit committee, is in the region of 450,000. So the base fees, if you see in that paper, was in the region of 100,000, the base. Now the base fee has been agreed for a unitary like us, which has got complex set of accounts in terms of subsidiary and our commercial activities. So the base fees itself, central government has said that over the years, probably the fees which you have been paying has been on the low side. So the base fees officially now for 23-24 is roughly in the region of 450,000. So if you compare this level of fees with what is the current base fees, the base fees. So we have made provision in our 23-24 budget for the additional fees, which now is payable to GT. Thank you, Chair.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you very much indeed for that, Dev.
Thank you, Chair.
I think we now move on to the work programme. This is your opportunity, if you want to suggest any additional areas that we ought to be having a look at.
I'm not sure whether that would be an item for this or overview and scrutiny, but looking at our commercial return from our commercial investments. And I would be certainly interested in reviewing that in today's climate and what's that, you know, whether it's costing us money, whether it's bringing us profit. It'd be good to review that in the overall procurement and whether it's efficient enough or not, because that forms overall budget. But I'm just checking with you, Chair, whether you think is.
Looking at the September agenda, we have 2 reports. One is review of the council's commercial properties, and the other is property investment performance. Does that satisfy you what you're looking for?
In today's climate, some of the contracts have been given quite a while ago. Whether this council could, when it's reviewing the budget, it would be good to see whether we could make some more improvements when it comes to reviewing contracts and better management.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? I take it then you're happy for us to move forward with the programme as laid out? in which case I think we move on to a resolution to go into private.